we're going to get into one of the most uh, universal human experiences there is, music. The power that sound has over our lives is just immense, and today we really want to understand how it went from being this simple tool for survival to, well, the huge emotional and technological force it is now.
And what's so fascinating is that music isn't just, entertainment. It's not something you just choose to listen to. It's actually fundamental.
Fundamental how?
If you look at history or psychology, even economics, you see music is just woven into everything we do. From, I don't know, ancient tribes working together to the global streaming platforms on your phone. It's like a blueprint for how humans behave.
Okay, so let's unpack that functional role first. Where did it all start? I mean, music was a necessity long before it was art, right?
Absolutely.
Early tribes didn't have smartphones, but they had drums and, basic flutes, and they weren't using them for fun. They were early signal systems.
Almost like notifications.
Exactly. These sounds were practical notifications, a signal for a successful hunt, a warning for danger, that kind of thing.
And this wasn't about sounding good. It was about survival, about efficiency. Those early rhythms, those shared sounds, they helped build a collective identity. But from a scientific standpoint, the rhythm was crucial for something called cognitive synchronization.
Which means?
It just means getting everyone's brain on the same page. When early humans had to do physical work, a steady rhythm let them all move together. It maximized their power. Whether they were lifting heavy things or farming, it made the group way stronger than any single person.
So even though we've moved past that kind of survival, that primal connection is still there.
Oh, for sure.
Music is still this powerful, instant bridge. You see it at a sporting event. Thousands of people all singing a national anthem together, perfectly in sync. That shared experience creates this intense unity, and it doesn't matter who the individuals are.
It's a skill we actually teach really early on. Think about a music class in school. You're not just learning notes, you're learning really complex cooperation.
Right, because you have to listen to everyone else.
Exactly. When you play in a group, you have to practice discipline, listening, adjusting yourself so the whole thing sounds balanced. You're learning teamwork by trying to create harmony.
So it seems like once we got the hang of using music for practical stuff, we started using it for our deepest concerns. Things like spirituality and recording our own history.
Yes, and in every single culture, music is central to religious traditions. Chanting, especially, is this incredible tool for memorization.
How does that work?
It's just much easier to remember complex texts or long moral lessons when you set them to a rhythm. It helps your brain retrieve the information. And in a place of worship, music shifts from being social to being a tool for focus.
You mean like a church organ?
A church organ with its huge sound, or maybe the Indian sitar with its meditative tones. They are designed to help you concentrate your mind to feel connected to something bigger than yourself.
I was just struck by the amount of devotion that goes into these rituals. Like church choirs performing these incredibly complex pieces that take months of practice. It shows the music isn't just carrying the message.
It is the dedication, and that level of seriousness is crucial because music holds so much symbolic weight. I mean, can you imagine a wedding or a funeral without its specific traditional music? It would feel so empty. The music is what validates the moment.
You also mentioned it was like history's first recording device.
Mm-hmm.
So before most people could read or write, how did they pass down huge amounts of information?
Through narrative songs, and this is where you get roles like the griot, especially in many West African cultures. It's not right to just call them musicians.
They're more than that.
So much more. A griot is a living library, a historian, a keeper of records. They preserve the entire village's history names, family lines, important events, all set to melodies that are easy to remember and repeat.
That's a powerful idea, that our brains are just wired to remember facts and names better when they're attached to a catchy tune.
And modern folk music really keeps that tradition alive, you know? It tells the stories of working people, their struggles, their triumphs, making sure those histories don't just disappear. It's heritage preservation happening in real time.
Okay, let's zoom in now from the big societal picture to the individual. Let's forget the group for a second. What is happening in your brain when you press play? The psychological effects are, well, they're profound. Music can change your mood instantly.
And we understand the mechanics of it now. It's more than just feeling happy. When you hear music you love, your brain releases a big hit of dopamine. That's the chemical that drives motivation and pleasure.
So it's a reward.
It's a reward loop, yeah. But the interesting part is the biggest dopamine hit comes from the anticipation of the peak moment in the song, not the moment itself. The brain's reward center lights up just before the drop.
Which explains why we listen to the same songs over and over. And we use this to our advantage. We put on a fast song with a strong beat, and we feel energized, ready to work out.
Mm.
Or we need to relax, we pick something slow and soft to calm our nervous system.
And this has clinical applications. Music therapy is used all over the world. There's a technique called the ISO principle. This is where a therapist matches the patient's emotional state, let's say they're highly anxious, with music at a similar tempo.
And then,
And then they slowly, deliberately shift the music's tempo downward, guiding the patient toward a calmer state. It's a guided emotional regulation.
that's fascinating. What about on a developmental level in education?
The connection there is really significant. Learning an instrument involves motor skills, timing, pattern recognition, all stuff that's transferable. Study after study shows that students who learn music often do better in subjects like math and science. It's basically whole brain training.
And even on a daily level, it's about control. In a loud place, like the subway,
Yeah.
we put on headphones not just to listen, but to create our own private space, to filter out the stress.
And that control over your own sonic world, your sound environment, that ties directly into identity, especially for young people.
Right.
Music is such a critical social tool. Teenagers use it to define their style, their values. Your favorite band is often the quickest way to find your social group, to feel like you belong.
It's a huge cultural engine. Fashion trends are constantly being driven by pop stars and rappers. I mean, look at rock and roll in the 50s. It completely changed how young people dressed and talked. More recently, hip-hop culture has influenced language and dance all over the world.
And concerts are the physical space for all of this. They are places for collective freedom, for excitement, where youth culture can kind of celebrate its own voice, separate from older norms.
Okay, so we've covered connection, identity, but music also has this incredible power as a political tool, a force for change.
A huge force. Throughout history, songs have been used to talk about deep social injustices, whether it was about poverty or awful working conditions.
Like during the Civil Rights Movement, music was absolutely vital then.
It really was. The rhythms and lyrics gave activists this profound moral and physical courage when they were facing real danger. The act of singing together actually created courage.
So when you're at a protest or a rally, and everyone starts singing together,
It creates this powerful, unified sense of solidarity that's bigger than any individual's fear. The song becomes an anthem for the movement. And even in places where governments try to censor the words, the melody alone can carry a message of hope and resilience that's almost impossible to stamp out.
that idea of a shared sound brings us to national identity. Every country has musical traditions that help define its character.
Absolutely. It goes beyond national anthems. You have specific traditional instruments, like Scottish bagpipes or the American banjo. These aren't just artifacts, they're sonic symbols of a unique cultural heritage. We celebrate this at events like the Olympics.
It's interesting, too, how regional music often reflects the actual environment.
Exactly. The styles often mirror the geography. Think of that mournful, high lonesome sound of mountain music, or the dense, complex rhythms you might find in jungle areas. Music also helps people living abroad feel less homesick. And learning the traditional songs of a new country is one of the best ways for immigrants to connect and integrate.
Let's shift gears completely now. Let's talk about money. The incredible economic machine built around this human need for sound. Music is a multi-billion-dollar global industry.
It's a massive financial engine. It touches manufacturing, tourism, everything. You have the record labels and streaming platforms making billions in revenue. But the infrastructure alone is staggering. Concert venues, huge festivals, they create thousands of jobs, from sound techs and security to caterers and staff.
And the manufacturing side is key. Professional studios need incredibly expensive, specialized gear microphones, mixing boards, which supports whole other industries. Plus, merchandise sales are often what keep touring artists afloat, funding their next album.
But the biggest story in music economics has to be technology. The impact has been revolutionary. In the past, music was defined by its scarcity. If you wanted to hear a symphony, you had to physically be there. The phonograph changed everything by bringing recorded music into the home.
And then radio broadcast it to millions at once. But the digital revolution, that changed the whole game.
That's the key. Digital files and streaming moved us from an era of scarcity, where you paid a lot for a limited number of physical albums, to one of infinite abundance. Now you can carry thousands of songs on your phone. This totally changed how money is made, shifting from selling units to getting tiny bits of money from streams.
It also changed how we find new music. With infinite choice, you need a filter.
Exactly. And that filter is the recommendation algorithm. So while access is universal, what you actually discover is often curated. This has led to a sort of winner-take-all economy where global superstars dominate the streaming numbers, which can make it harder for talented local artists to break through all that noise.
So that's the downside of all that access. But technology also democratized the creation of music.
Without a doubt. Electronic instruments like synthesizers let artists create sounds that just don't exist in nature. More importantly, powerful computer software means anyone with a laptop can now record and produce professional quality music in their bedroom.
And high-speed internet means you can collaborate instantly with anyone, anywhere. A musician in Tokyo can work on a track with a producer in London without ever being in the same room.
And that connectivity brings us back to two of music's most fundamental partners, education and physical movement.
Right. In schools, music education teaches discipline and teamwork. If you're in a school band, you have to know your part and work with everyone else for the group to sound good. It's a high-level lesson in contributing to something bigger.
And being exposed to instruments and music from all over the world is a great way to introduce students to different cultures. Plus, as we said, learning to read musical notation, which is basically a language, improves cognitive skills and pattern recognition.
And finally, the most obvious connection, music and dance. They are tied together in every human culture. The rhythm of a song provides the literal structure for physical movement.
And that structure is different for every genre. Ballet relies on precise classical music for its storytelling. But a modern style like breakdancing needs those heavy, complex, syncopated beats, that offbeat rhythm that pulls you forward. The music is always the blueprint for the movement.
So looking ahead, music is changing so fast because of this instant global sharing online. Where do we end up in a world that's just saturated with sound?
I think we're seeing a rapid acceleration of genres blending together. Artists are creating new forms that borrow from dozens of different cultures at once. This global fusion is only going to grow. Your musical identity is going to be far less tied to where you live.
And the technology that's driving it.
Well, virtual reality is already letting fans attend live concerts from home, which could totally change the economics of touring. But the most provocative frontier is artificial intelligence. AI is already starting to help composers write melodies and arrange complex scores.
So despite all these changes, from an ancient flute to an AI composer, that basic human need for music and rhythm that stays the same. It's always going to be our most universal language, our way to express emotion and connect with each other.
Exactly. It's fundamental.
We hope this encourages you to listen not just with your ears, but with your entire brain. Good luck with your studies.